This is Mrs. Wandra, and I teach band at Sauk Middle School. And we are here to tell you about how to play 3 different notes on the clarinet today. So let's make sure you have your entire clarinet assembled. I hope you were very careful with that bridge key. And I hope that you have your reed nice on the back, lined up with a thin hair of black at the top, screws to the right with the threads in the middle of your reed. Make sure that's all good to go. Let's review our hand position. Actually, sorry, before our hand position, I want to check out that baby instrument sound. So we're actually going to take off the barrel and the mouthpiece part. Just set the rest of your clarinet safely somewhere with the keys facing the sky where no one can grab it or where you can't bump it. We got to get a nice big sound on this baby instrument before we can on the whole clarinet. So remember, we want to go we two, top tooth on top, bottom lip under. The top teeth must touch the mouthpiece. So here we go. We two, top tooth on top, bottom lip's a little bit rolled over those bottom teeth, and take a big breath. Let's do it again. 2, ready. Good for you. Okay, if that's going well, then we're ready to go to the whole clarinet. If it's not, just pause it here and try to get that nice sound with your good clarinet face. Okay, so I got that lined up with my reed lined up with that teardrop key in the back. And our hand position, remember it's like recorded, left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. My left hand goes like this, thumb over that thumb key, then 45-degree angle. On the front, I have finger 1 on the first donut, finger 2 on the next donut, finger 3 on the no donut. In my right hand, on the back side, I've got my thumb resting like this, so that thumb rest is between the middle of my nail and that knuckle. Then I've got 4, 5, and 6 pressing. Remember, we always want to press into those keys, and we're covering up the entire tone hole. If we don't cover up the entire hole, we're going to get squawky notes, and you won't be very happy. So make sure that you are doing that. Next up, let's talk about the note E. All right, E is actually only 2 fingers. We're going to press thumb and 1. That means in my left hand, it's my thumb, my first finger. It's really important when you do this that your other fingers stay in their homes, okay? They're not giving me a wave. They're not hiding. They're just staying above those holes they're in charge of. That's why I call it staying in their homes. Okay, so I'm going to press thumb and 1. Get set up with we 2, top down on top. And my bottom looks like a pillow. Got my clarinet a little bit away from me, right? I'm going to take a big breath and try it, and then do it with me. Now let's try it together for 4 counts. 1, 2, ready. Good. Okay, so if you're getting a sound that's like really high, double check that your fingers are covering up the entire hole. Because if they're not, chances are we're going to pop out a really high note, okay? And just double check too that you didn't hit any weird side keys over here. That'll also make your note sound super weird. All right, that was E, thumb and 1. Let's try F, which is just your thumb. This one is really easy to accidentally let your fingers leave their homes. So make sure they're still hovering above their keys they're in charge of. All right, just my thumb is pressing. Everything else is hovering. Here I go. Your turn 2. Ready, and nice. It would be a good idea to pause it here and practice just your E and just your F. So why don't you pause it and do that a few times? Welcome back. Now we're going to try to do E to F. When we do E to F, we're going thumb and 1 to just a thumb. So you're going to lift up that first finger. And your goal this time is to make sure that your first finger doesn't go like way out here, right? It's just going to lift up a little bit. You can barely probably see mine in the video. All right. I'll do it, then I'll count to 4, and we'll do it together. Here we go. One, 2, ready, and. Okay, so if you know the theme song from Jaws, you just played part of it. You could go slow to fast, and it will sound like Jaws. I'll prove it. So you could tell your parents, you know a song from a movie and play it right now for them. Make sure your fingers stay in their homes. The next note is G. Now, your book probably says for G, it's no fingers, which can work. So what I would do is just keep them in my homes. I'm not pressing any buttons, but they're hovering. Sounds like this. But the way I always teach my students to do this, and it will help later, and it helps stabilize the note, is you're actually going to press down fingers 4, 5, and 6 in your right hand. Now, it feels kind of weird because nothing is pressing in our left. So in your right hand, though, 4, 5, and 6 are down. Let's try that out. I'll do it. I'll count to 4, and then you'll join me. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, so like I said, I make my students learn that way. Just check with your band director on which they prefer. But if you do it with 4, 5, and 6, it's just going to help you out later, all right? And it helps that note sound better. Now, it's really tricky to go from F to G with those 2 fingerings. So we're going to try that next, the FG challenge. That means we're going to go from the thumb to 4, 5, 6 to the thumb to 4, 5, 6. Let's do that without playing. Thumb, 4, 5, 6, thumb, 4, 5, 6. So the tricky part is if you don't move all your fingers at the same time, you're going to get little notes in between. I call them blips. We want to avoid those blippy notes. So here's a good example of F to G. Here I go. Yeah, Mrs. Mondra. Okay, but now if I don't move my fingers all at once, it sounds like this. You hear I was kind of like, ba-da-da. That's why we have to practice with just our fingers first. F to G, F to G, and then we move to playing, okay? So you practice your fingers. You might want to pause it and do that. And then let's do it together. So F, G, 1, 2, here we go. All right, so that's how I do F to G. So now before we go, we're going to just try and do E on a whole note, then F on a whole note, then G. So let's make sure we got our fingers down. So E, how do you play that? If you put your fingers in thumb in 1, you got it. And how about F? Put your fingers where they go for F. If you put your thumb on thumb, the thumb key, then you got it. And G, if you said 4, 5, and 6, way to go. So let's try that out. E, then F, then G. 1, 2, ready. Awesome. Well, I hope in this video you understand how to play E, F, and G on whole notes and have a few more tips about getting those notes to come out right. Remember, learning an instrument can be really tricky, but it's totally worth it. So even when you're frustrated, just take a break and then come back and practice again because we know you can do it. All right, thank you. Have a great day.